Hello everyone, we are back again. This is Tracy with the Idea Closet. This whole week we've been working on Silhouette Studio version 4 and some of the new techniques or upgrades that come with version 4 and version 4.1. Yesterday we made this layered card cake, and today I'm going to show you how to do the inside of this layered card cake. So what I did was I did a pop-up that says happy. It's very easy to do in Silhouette Studio. It's a new technique. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up Silhouette Studio. Once again, just as I've done this whole week, there is a picture of what we're going to create so that as we go along you can kind of get an idea of what we're trying to do. The pop-up card is actually a separate card from the card front. When you finish the inside card, you'll need to glue it to the outside card. So the layered cake that we made yesterday is the outside, and then today when you finish cutting this out and putting it together, you will glue it to the inside. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you'll need to do is you need to draw your card base. So I'm going to hit my R to get my rectangle and just draw a rectangle. Click on V to get my selection tool. And then come up here to the quick access toolbar, and we are going to change the size of this to a regular card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5. And basically that is an A2 card. There are a couple of things that we can do. We need to find the middle of this card, and so there are a couple of ways to do it. The first one is you can come over here and you can click on your grid setting and show your grid, and then you can eyeball it on your lines and count and find the middle of your card. If you have Designer Edition, you can also grab a ruler and bring it down to the middle of your card. But there is actually an easier way to do this that doesn't have all the grids showing, doesn't get so confusing, and you can do it in any version that you have. So I'm going to undo this a couple of steps. I'm going to turn my grid off. There is my card base. I'm going to come over here and simply get my line tool. I'm going to draw a line through my box, and if I hold the shift, it will draw a perfectly straight line. Doesn't matter where it is on the card, we just need a line, and it needs to extend through the box. In fact, I might have made that one a little bit too big, so let's do it again. Get your line tool, click, hold shift, drag across so that it extends through both. I'm going to grab my selection tool by hitting the V, and I'm going to select both the line and the card base. Then when I have my the quick accent toolbar, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to find this center button right here. Click on it, and it is going to center that middle line exactly in the middle of my card base. The last thing I'm going to do is, because I want to remember that this is just a guide and I'm not going to cut it, I'm going to select that line again. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change the line color to blue. Not a have-to step, but it really helps to know that that is just the guideline and I don't want to cut it. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and get started with our pop-up now that we have our base. So I'm going to open up my font or my text style window, and we're actually going to do a pop-up with the text. You could also do this with the shape. The steps are the same. I know that I want to use impact. So I'm going to find it, click on it. Now I'm going to come over and get my text tool, click to get my text cursor, and I'm going to type the word happy birthday with my caps locked. Ugh, I can talk today. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to change this font size to 110. And I know it's 110 because I've messed around with it when I was trying to figure this all out. But you could also just click and drag it until it's this shape that you want. I also know that I want it spaced out a little bit, so I'm going to come over here to character spacing highlight it, and it's just going to space that out just a little bit. Okay, with this selected, I'm going to next open up my offset panel. I'm going to choose an offset. 0.125 is the default, and it works perfect for what I'm going to do. However, I don't want the rounded corners, I want the square corners. I'm going to hit on the sharp corners and then apply. And now I have my offset. So the offset is actually what I'm going to make the pop-up with. If you can look over here, let me see if I can zoom in really close on my card without losing a whole lot of detail. The pop-up is actually the offset, and then I made a copy of the offset to cut out in my pattern paper, and then the letters are each cut out of a different color. Hit Fit to Window, come back. So now I need to make a copy of this offset because we're going to have two of them. I'm just going to come over here and duplicate, and I'm going to bring this one down. We're going to work with this copy. This is the piece that we're going to make our pop-up window. So I'll come over here and I'll hit my pop-up panel. And with the image selected, I'm going to say Convert Selected Shape to Pop-up. What's going to happen is it's going to change this from just a regular shape into a pop-up shape. And it's going to have everything that it needs to have to turn it into a pop-up. So see these red dots right here? And there's a little bit of a perforation behind it. That is actually where the middle of your card goes. So we're going to click this, drag it over here, and I'm going to line that perforation mark right up there on that blue guideline. You can see my dots. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of those, and I want to align it right to the middle. So I'm going to click my Align and Align to Center, and it's going to move that over just a little bit so that my happy is right in the middle of my card. And actually, I'm going to just bump it just a little bit because it might be in the middle, but it doesn't quite look good. Okay, next with this selected is you'll see these two red lines, and they are the extenders for our perforations. We need our perforations to go to the edge of the card. I'm going to click on this one and drag it to the edge. Notice it's not changing the shape of my pop-up of my happy, but it's extending that perforation mark. And I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to drag it over to, I don't put it right on the line, I put it really, really close to the line. The last thing you're going to do is decide how far out you want your image to pop out. So right now it's at about 1/2 inch. I like mine to pop out a little bit more. I like to do about 1 inch. You could turn your guides or your grid back on. I am just an eyeballer, so I'm going to click on this little, looks to me like a paper clip, but it's actually a slider tool. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to drag it down so that this part here looks like it's about 1 inch. Whoops, I moved it so I lost it. That's too far unless you want it to really pop out a lot. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to stay in the same, it's going to be all lined up because you've lined your perforation marks up. So you can tell that this is about 1 inch, pretty close. I'm going to come over here and grab this guideline, and now I'm just going to delete it because we don't want to cut it. And there is my card. If I select everything over here and right click and group, I can now move all of these pieces and my card is going to stay completely together. What will happen is when I cut it out, it will cut the perforations and then it will cut the solid lines, and you will have a perfect pop out. Now I want to do something kind of fun with my images. So this one I'm going to cut out of the pattern paper. I'm going to come over here and open my fill window and click my pattern. Now, I don't have the exact pattern that I want in here. Oh, it's kind of doing something funky. There we go. But if I can pick about anything and know that I'm going to fill that with, or cut that out of my printed paper. So there is my offset that's going to go right here. It's the blue polka dot. And then I can ungroup this, and I can change the color of my letters. So if I hit the H, hold my shift, and hit the second P, I can fill it with red. I can fill my first P with white, my Y with purple, and then if I want to do another pattern paper, I can open up the pattern paper again and pick something else. Or how about that one? That's a little bit closer to what I want to do. Now everything is completely ready to cut out and to put the card together. Super, super easy. Let me show you a couple of other things that you can do with the Silhouette version 4. We already talked about our sticky notes. I really like this. I have decided this is one of my favorite features, and it's available on all editions. I know that I did the impact font. Whoops, I'm still in caps. Impact font. And I can also say pops out 1 inch, or any other information that I want. Once again, as I explained in an earlier video, the sticky note stays with your image when it is saved. So when you open it back up, all your information is right there, but it doesn't cut out. You don't have to change the line setting or anything. It doesn't cut. Good to know. Another feature that I haven't shown you yet that Silhouette version 4 has is tutorials. So if you come up here to help and click on help and scroll down to where it says tutorials, you can click on tutorials, and a pop-up window shows with all kinds of different tutorials that you can use. So we're going to go ahead. Here's the pop-up tutorial. You can click on it. And if you hit, it's telling you first off that it's going to take about 10 minutes. It's medium difficulty, so it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's not hard. It's rated medium. We can go ahead and hit start. And then what happens is you get a new little pop-up window, and it gives you step-by-step instructions of how to do that feature or how to use it. So very, very simple. So if the video doesn't help or you get a little bit confused, go ahead and use your new tutorials. When you're done, you can just close it out. Whoops. One other thing I want to show you is the pop-up is available in the basic edition. However, if you have Designer Edition Plus, you have a couple of other options. So I'm going to go ahead and type the word happy again, just to show this to you. And I didn't do it in caps, but that's okay. We'll select it, come over here and open up our pop-up window and convert selected shapes to pop-up. There we go again. There is all of our perforation marks. I'm just going to pretend that we have a card under here because this isn't really what I want to show you. In Designer Edition, you have the option of changing each of these letters individually as far as how far you want them to pop out. So if you wanted them to be a little bit staggered, you can select each piece differently and click on the slider tool. My computer's running really slow. Click on that slider tool and pull out those images to different depths of how far they are. The base width is how far it is right here. Your strut width and your dash pitch all change these. I haven't done a whole lot with this, but the few things that I've done, I've decided by leaving them on the default, I'm the happiest. When I start messing with them, sometimes I get a image or a cut that I don't really like. But you're more than welcome to go ahead and play around with them and see what you like. You can, if you don't like what you've done, you can just hit release or restore to your original shape, and it goes right back to what you had. So that is how you use the pop-up feature. It's really, really simple. It's a lot of fun. it just opens up a whole lot more doors in your creative adventures. So give it a try. I hope you are enjoying these tutorials. Come back tomorrow. I have one more. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.